royal, got to be spoiled. Ooh, put me up high, this is my hive. See me shine, shine, glitter like a diamond. Leave you blind, that's how I get back in line. What's yours is mine, can't tell me.
Hey friends, welcome back to Girl Talk Unfiltered. Today's episode is a little different. It's personal, it's messy, and it's a story I share with two women I love deeply, my sisters Elena and Lisa. We all joke about daddy issues, but for us, it's not a punchline. It's our actual life. 3 daughters, 3 different moms, one dad who wasn't around, and then one day, poof, he shows back up, decades later. You can't make this shit up. Elena thought someone else was her dad until 7 years ago. I didn't see him for 60 years. Lisa met him 2 years ago, and her story mirrors mine. So today, we're talking about daddy issues, the big kind. Not the cliche daddy issues people joke about on TikTok, but the real kind. The longing, the absence, the confusion, the anger, and the strange hope that comes when the missing piece suddenly reappears. This is about the ways fathers shape us, even when they're not there. It's about identity, forgiveness, resentment, curiosity, and the messy love that doesn't fit neatly into Hallmark cards. And I'm not doing it alone. My sisters are here with me, and together we're going to tell the truth about what it means to meet your father as a grown woman and how that changes everything, or maybe nothing at all. So let's get into it. Like imagine deleting an app 60 years ago, then suddenly it reinstalls itself without asking, and now it wants access to your contacts and camera. That's kind of what it feels like. Disclaimer. Unfortunately, my sister Lisa chose not to be part of this episode for her own personal reasons, and that's her right. What hurt, though, was that instead of simply stepping away, she went to our father and shared what we were planning to talk about. In doing that, she turned something personal into something bigger and made it seem like our goal was to attack him. That was never the intention. This was never about daddy bashing. This podcast has always been a platform to share our experiences, our feelings, our truths. But when Lisa framed it differently, it shifted the narrative. Suddenly, instead of being the daughters telling our story, we were painted as the problem. And that's painful because all we wanted was to express what happened to us, not rewrite anyone else's story. Lisa, I love you, and I hope you find the healing you deserve. Because here's the bigger truth. We have 3 other sisters from 2 other mothers, and every one of them has their own version of this story too. Their own wounds, their own truths. And I think it's such a shame that as grown women, we still feel silent, that we're afraid to ruffle feathers, afraid that if we speak our truth, we won't be loved anymore. But here's where I stand. If love depends on silence, if it disappears the moment you tell your truth, then maybe that's not the kind of love I want to hold on to. Because real love can handle honesty. Segment 1, first encounter. Okay, let's get into the awkward part. The first time you meet your dad as a grown-ass woman. Like it's not cute, it's not a Hallmark reunion. It's basically, nice to meet you. Thanks for the abandonment trauma. Want a hug or nah? That moment hits differently. Because on one hand, you're curious, you want answers, you want to see yourself in him. And on the other hand, you're like, why the hell am I standing here smiling at a man who missed decades of my life? So let's break it down, because each of us had our own wild first encounter. To introduce to you my sister, Elena. Welcome, Elena. We're glad you're here.
Nice to be here.
And your story's crazy. You grew up thinking someone else was your dad. Then boom, truth bomb. What was that first meeting like? Who was there? Where did it take place?
It took place actually in Los Angeles, not at my place, not at their place, but at a really nice hotel around Christmas time. And another sister was there who was very close to him. And also my husband was there, who actually met him before he did. But having the other sister there that had already known for a little while made it so much easier. But I was nervous. Woo, I was nervous. Like, oh my gosh. It was like maybe I was gonna meet, I don't know, Obama or somebody.
And like that, identity takes a hit. Because if the story you were told about your dad isn't true, then what else isn't true? It forces you to question everything about who you are and where you come from. So, Elena, you grew up believing someone else was your dad, and then one day your whole world shifted. Can you walk us through that moment? And how did you find out the truth?
Well, the way I did find out was my niece had did the DNA, and one of our sisters popped up on her DNA, and it said that it was a very, very close relative. So she didn't know if it was a sister. She just didn't know who it was. Well, they got in touch with each other and put two and two together. And, then my niece talked to my brother about it, and my brother told me, and I didn't believe it. I just didn't believe it was true. I was in shock. I was in denial. I was like, no way. Like, mm-mm. And then when it hit me, I did see it. It was hurt. I was, very, very hurt. And I felt like I had been lied to my whole entire life. Looking at it all, it changed my DNA, it changed my medical, it changed everything. And I just went into a depression, gained a lot of weight, had to see a therapist. So it was life shattering, to find out someone who raised you your whole entire life was not your father, and you're just like him. Everyone tells you you're just like him.
So, what did you expect him to be like versus what he actually was?
After I found out, I expected him to pretty much be the way he is. Only because, my brother had, met him first before he did. And my brother told me about him, had seen a picture with my brother and him together. And just from a picture, I knew he was a lot like my brother. They had like the same type of shoes. The way they're holding their sunglasses in their hand was identical to the way my brother holds his sunglasses in his hand. So what made him thought he would be a lot kind of like my brother, and he was,
Relief, confusion, or all of the above?
I would say all of the above, but especially the anger, of being lied to your whole life. I understand what was lied to, and now looking back at all of it, I understand it, and it was for the better. That my parents didn't tell me, but talking about being confused, so confused, like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? But then after all of the, kind of like investigating, talking to family, friends, and, knowing the history of, other aunt and uncles on my dad's side, the one who raised me, knowing that they couldn't have kids either. A lot of his brothers and sisters who had to adopt their kids. Putting two and two, I started to understand why. Me, the confusion. I think I'm a little bit different. I'm a little more weary of things, and I'm not as trusting, of everything here now. I look at everything twice, doubt a lot of things. Yeah, that was a better way of asking.
Yeah, that would be a pretty normal reaction.
Yeah, see. Yeah, but I doubt so many things now. Like when you hear this or someone would tell me, oh my gosh, this is my brother, my sister, you haven't met them. And I'm sitting there like, you think that? Sit there and have doubts now with everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, whenever people tell me that's my sister, we were sure. you know.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Elaine, for all the love and support you gave me for all of this. Because before we even met, you and I spent hours on the phone and you shared your own experience with me. You told me what it was like. You reassured me that I could handle it, and you gave me the courage that didn't know I had. And then you didn't just talk me through it. You showed up, girl. You drove all the way to Los Angeles from San Diego to stand beside me when I met him for the first time. And you just don't know what that meant. Oh my God. Man, that meant more to me than I can ever say. And I brought three of my daughters and my granddaughter with me, but still, you being there, that just took it for me, you know? You weren't just my sister that day. You were my hype woman, my wingman, and my therapist, all rolled into one, girl. You. But then there was me.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
The memory of him was when I was 2 years old. And 60 years later, he's suddenly standing there in front of me again. And I swear to you, it felt like a reunion. And it felt like meeting a stranger who just happened to share my DNA. Wanted to feel something, wanted to recognize him or feel recognized by him. But instead, it felt grief, grief for all the years that weren't. And at the same time, sitting staring at his face, hands, the way he moved, trying to find myself in there somewhere. And let me tell you, it is not like in the movies. Ain't nobody in the background playing Coldplay, okay, while you cry and hug it out. It's awkward, it's weird. Meeting him stirred up every old wound. It reminded me that identity isn't just about who you are now. It's about who you long to be. And yes, it was just me and my mother growing up, just the two of us. And had no brothers or sisters. That was like, you know how like when you eat ice cream or something really, really cold, you get a brain freeze, but it only lasts a few seconds. Well, this one lasted for weeks, months, okay? Yeah. So you have some questions for me?
So, like, what feelings came up?
Angry at life.
Mhm.
Would you let me meet my dad again at age 62 when I had been looking for him my entire life? Before there was social media, then after social media, I would post stuff on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter and trying to find him that way. Okay, that's enough. I'm never gonna find him. Maybe he's not even alive anymore.
So, why was there grief
Yeah,
for all those years lost?
because my life probably would have been so different if he had have been in my life. Wouldn't have got pregnant at 15, you know? Maybe by the time I was 18, wouldn't have been married to an alcoholic 7 years older than me with 3 kids, if he'd have been in my life. And as far as all the girls, there's 6 of us, and I'm the only one that has the least that can do the least. Okay, like I'm mad at the universe because now I'm old, my dad is old, I'm in Texas, he's all the way in California. It's not like I have the money, don't have those resources. Yeah.
So, did it make you mad at him or mad at life, the universe?
Got cheated out of the opportunity to bond with him, and actually get some of those years back. We're talking 60 years. We're talking teen pregnancy. We're talking
Wow.
marrying an alcoholic at 18 and having 3 children by then. We're talking a second failed marriage. That little girl who always wished my dad would come and rescue. I didn't want him back with my mother. I wanted him to come and rescue me. You know what to do with that. Don't think I still know what to do with that.
Right.
Don't know how to be stuff. Just because you hear blood doesn't suddenly feel safe in your arms. It's like meeting someone on Tinder who looks like you but doesn't text back. Confusing as hell. And again, it comes back to identity. Because seeing it just about him, it's about us. It makes you question, who am I without the story of him? Like, who am I now that he's here? And is it too late for him to be dead? So, what do we remember about the first hug or the first word?
And the first thing out of his mouth was, "You look just like your mama." And man, it's hard to remember. I was so nervous. So it was so much was going on. You know what I mean? It was almost like I was in a dream. It was just unreal. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I'm meeting this man because that's what he was. My dad, my dad raised me. My dad's gone now. I've mourned his death. It was just unreal.
Yeah, like you said, real. Thinking to myself, should I hug him? Should I not? I'll wait and see what he's gonna do. I didn't know. And then he got out the bed, just opened his arms, and I just went into him, and that was it. First words, I really don't even remember. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's a blur out, seriously. Yeah,
Yeah. Wasn't it a blur?
there.
It was a blur, like,
It was like a dream.
because you're so in shock. He didn't seem nervous at all. It's like he was waiting, so he wasn't nervous. And since was already raised by somebody, who loved and raised me very well, took very good care of me and loved me, I guess there was no reason for him to take accountability. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't even in the realm of things. There was just no reason, It's basically like
Yeah,
he was a donor.
he did take accountability. We did acknowledge the my Max memories being with him, and he had his friend was with him, and that he remembered, coming to the house to see me and my mom, and me waving at him from the window and stuff. So yeah, he did. He took accountability. So, what's one word you use to describe that first meeting?
One word to describe,
A
unreal.
word would be unbelievable. Back to you guys listening. Who in your life did you expect to be there? And they weren't. What story about yourself did you grow up believing that turned out not to be true? And when those foundations shift, how do you rebuild who you are? So yeah, the first encounter with a parent you never knew is wild, it's messy, awkward, and not at all what the movies promise. But here's the thing. It's not just about them. It's about us. It's about identity. And sometimes meeting the person you thought you needed just proved you were becoming yourself all along. No Coldplay soundtrack required. Segment 2, the emotional fallout. Okay, so we shared the first encounters, but let's be real. Meeting him didn't just tie everything up with a neat little bow. It
Mhm.
wasn't, hey, I have a dad now. It was more like, ooh, now I'm 30 shades of pissed off, confused, curious, lost. Meeting him did not answer questions. It raised new questions like, do I want a relationship with him? Do I even trust him? And the scariest one, what is this about me? So, Elena, let's start with you. What happened after that first meeting?
After that first meeting, not too long after that, we did, see each other through, our other sister. Saw, my other sisters a lot. We were all going out to eat and stuff, and everything was good. Then COVID came along, and all that just, ended things for a while. And then they kind of slowly came back together.
We're told about our sister. And when those stories shift, it feels like your entire foundation, you're not just meeting him, you're meeting yourself. Then for the first time, in a way. Meeting him stirred up grief I thought I had already processed. Gave up on needing a dad. But suddenly there he was and was breathing all over again. It was like just ate for the birthdays, the milestones, the little moments that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part was realizing, even if it was real, it still couldn't give me all those years back. His showing up didn't erase the wound. It just reminded me it was still there. And it's like an emotional tug of war. On one hand, it's like, give him a chance. And then on the other hand, it's like, girl, remember all the years he wasn't there? And that guilt is so real because identity isn't just individual, it's relational. We define ourselves in conjunction and connection to others. So wanting him in your life can feel like betraying the people who raised you. Like in your case, Elena, emotional fallout feels like getting an unwanted subscription service. Like, didn't sign up for this.
Right.
Emotional fallout is a mirror. Meeting him didn't give me a thought, but it did give me a chance to see where my wounds still live. And as painful as that is, it's also an invitation because once you see the crack, you get to decide, do I keep patching them with resentment or do we build something new? So let me ask you guys listening, who in your life left you carrying questions you'll never be able to answer? And what emotions have you labeled as anger that are really grief in disguise? And here's the thing, if someone showed up and they knew your story, would you let them in or would you shut the door? So yeah, the emotional fallout isn't pretty. It's messy. It's confusing. It's grief mixed with anger, guilt mixed with curiosity, and love. The love is still present though. After all, he is our dad, and something in our DNA calls for unconditional love. And here's the truth. It's not just about him. It's about us. The fallout forces us to decide not who he is, but who we want to be, even with the crack. So, did meeting him stir up old wounds, even ones you thought were healed?
Yeah. Well, the wounds that it stirs up is about, my biological father. And it hurts. It's hard to explain, but it brings up, just the death of my father, the death of my mother, the way they never told me. Like I said, I do understand why they didn't tell me, but it does, bring those issues back up, like just not understanding so much stuff and just knowing why. It just brings up a lot of why. You know what I mean? Just why this, why that? It brings up things like, for a long time, I was like, well, did my dad know? Even I found out, yeah, he knew, but it just still brings up, I love my daddy. You know what I mean? I love the man who raised me. So meeting, the biological father, yeah, it just stirred up things like a hot mess. It just stirred my feelings up.
Psychological insight, father absence, and trauma in daughter. Here's the truth, backed by research. Studies show father's absence is strongly linked to issues of trust, attachment, and identity in daughters. One study from the Journal of Marriage and Family in 2010 found that women who grew up without their fathers are more likely to struggle with abandonment, fears, difficulty forming secure attachments, and even higher risks for anxiety and depression. But let me tell you, data doesn't capture the emotional whiplash of someone reappearing after decades, because this isn't just about trust issues. It's about learning at a young age that the first man in your life, the one who was supposed to protect you, see you, love you unconditionally, wasn't there. And that absence doesn't just leave a blank space. It leaves a wound. For a lot of women, that wound turns into hyper independence, I don't need anyone. I'll never rely on a man. For others, it looks like chasing love in all the wrong places, trying to fill that gap with anyone who'll give them scraps of attention. And here's the kicker. Even when you move on, even when you think you've built your life without him, that wound has a way of resurfacing. Like when he shows up after decades, or when you find yourself in a relationship and realize you're terrified of being abandoned again. Or when you look in the mirror and think, if he didn't stay, what does that say about me? That's the part the studies don't show. That's the trauma, not just the absence itself, but the ripple effects it has on identity, love, and self-worth. Emotional whiplash. When someone reappears after decades, the emotional whiplash of someone reappearing after decades is real, and nobody prepares you for it. One day you've built your life without them, you've told yourself their absence doesn't matter anymore, you've made peace with the gap, and then suddenly, there they are. A face you know and don't know. A presence that feels familiar and foreign at the same time. It's like your brain is trying to download 40, 50, 60 years of updates in a single moment, and it crashes. Part of you is curious. Who are you really? Do I see myself in you? Part of you is furious. Where the hell were you all this time? And then there's grief, because just by standing in front of you, they remind you of everything they missed. Birthdays, milestones, heartbreaks, the ordinary Tuesday nights that make a life. And listen, this isn't some Hallmark reunion. There's no soft piano music. Nobody's hugging it out in slow motion. It's awkward as hell. It's like meeting a stranger at Target and realizing, oh wait, that's my dad. The vibe is basically, hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for the abandonment trauma. Do you want a hug or not? That's the whiplash. You're torn between wanting to jump into his arms and wanting to tell him to fuck off. And somehow both feelings are true at the same time. That's the part the research doesn't capture. They can measure outcomes, anxiety, attachment, identity struggles, but they can't measure what it feels like when absence suddenly becomes presence, when silence suddenly has a voice. It's not just confusing, it's destabilizing. It makes you question, who am I now that you're here? What parts of me were shaped because you weren't? And what happens if I let you back in, or if I don't? So yeah, emotional whiplash is real. It's basically therapy's version of a jump scare. And I promise you, no one's teaching a class on how to greet the parent who ghosted you for 6 decades. We're just winging it.
It just stirred my feelings up. It hurt my feelings.
Didn't realize until this past year with having met him recently, separating from a man that I had been married to for 26 years. Yeah, I realized that I have abandonment issues and I have serious trust issues. I mean, it's hard for me to trust somebody with my feelings and with my emotions, let alone with my heart, you know? Um, yeah, and I guess that all stems from that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You know what? It has brought trust issues,
Exactly.
to me.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
like you don't know what to believe anymore. You can't trust anything.
Hmm.
I mean, I was raised by two very
Yeah.
loving parents and and I feel like they
Hmm.
lied to me. But like I keep going back and saying I understand why they did. But now when somebody says something to you, anybody, like, I don't know if I believe them. Like when people tell me things now. If my own parents kept something from me, how can I believe anything else anybody else tells me? And when they say, something and it doesn't happen, then I'm really, like, oh no, I don't trust you.
Felt the need to lie to me when I was two. Like, why? How can I believe anybody else to tell me the truth?
Mm.
You know, so yeah, yeah,
I know. Yeah.
yeah.
It stirred up some trust issue with other people. Like when someone
Yes,
tells me something now
yes,
and
yes.
it doesn't
Oh
happen
my
or it
God.
doesn't, I'm so
Yes.
quick to cut
If
them off.
somebody shows me the least
I am
little bit of
quick to cut somebody off.
inconsistency, oh, that's
Yes.
it. You're cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah. I have
Me too.
cut off so
So
many
did it
people since
change
this
how
whole
you felt about the
situation.
mother?
I have. Yep.
Yeah.
It did. Cause I'm like, what was she doing? What was she doing? And it's like, I thought my mom had only been with my dad, the
Okay.
man who raised me. I thought that was the only man she had ever been with, ever. So, and it did. I was mad at her. I was like, how you do that? You know what I mean? But without her doing that, I wouldn't be here. But that I was mad at her, big time.
Yeah.
But I'm over it. I
Well, as far as my mother is concerned, I don't blame her for any of this. It doesn't change how I see her at all. It actually doesn't even change the way I see our dad because I understand, that life gets busy. He had more and more kids and different responsibilities. Things got forgotten or could have got left wayside, namely me. But also, I just can understand it. I think I inherited from our dad a lot of his promiscuous tendencies. Um,
Mhm.
because in my 20s and 30s,
Oh,
you too.
I would say that definitely
Yes, yes,
okay. Oh,
yes. I
mhm.
said the same. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, that's where that came
hmm,
from. Yeah, and I do want to state that
yeah.
um about the mom part. I mean, I do understand they did want to have kids. I do want to make that they wanted kids, and my dad. I always wondered how could they be married for 10 years and not have any kids? Because that wasn't a thing back in the 50s and the 60s, like they were making babies. People were making babies. So I do understand they wanted kids and
Any
they did
resentment
what they
towards
had to
him?
do.
Or
So, no,
did
no
you ever
resentment.
feel guilty for wanting a relationship with him after all the absence?
No
Yeah,
resentment.
yeah,
It is what it
yeah,
is. It was just
yeah.
out of
I didn't have any
our
resentment.
control.
Mm-mm.
It is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So,
And a daddy's girl, I was like, God, if I take on this other man and give him a lot of love, I feel like I'm betraying my father. The one, I mean, my daddy loved me. He loved me. He loved, of course, my brothers. He loved my son. Like, that was his mini me. And I just felt like, okay, after I found out he wasn't my dad and this other, man is my dad, I did feel like I would be betraying my father. But like my brother said, um, if our dad who raised us was alive, he would say, go on and meet him, He would be totally okay with it. It's just hard for me, you know what I mean? Because I grew up with the dad. So
mhm.
it's hard. I mean, I would like to be closer. I pray about being closer, to all my sisters, but as far as it's just hard when you don't grow up with someone, it's really hard.
It's hard.
Hmm.
Yeah, to wrap your head around it. I mean, because
It is hard.
we're grown women. I mean, growner than grown. And it takes you back to being a 6-year-old again, you know? So, yeah, that right there is uncomfortable.
Hmm?
Segment 3. Where do we go from here? So here we are. We've met him. We survived the emotional fallout. Now the $1 million question. Where the hell do we go from here? Like, what's the game plan? Do we invite him into our lives like nothing happened? Do we set boundaries? Do we just treat him like a distant cousin who happens to share our nose? I mean, let's be honest. There's no rule book for meeting your father at 40, 50, 60 years old. There's just the messy reality of deciding how much space you want to give now. So, Elaine, do you want an ongoing relationship?
I'm fine having a relationship with him. I'm not sure how to navigate him into my life. It's like I do want a closer relationship. I wish it could be easy for me. Like I said, I pray about it being easier for me. But it's just I don't know, there's like something like a hurdle I can't get over. And I'm just I mean, he's very nice, he's cool, he comfortable, but I still have that uncomfortable feeling where I just can't let down my guard. And it's nothing that he has done. It's just it's just hard for me to let down my guard. Like I don't want to be hurt again. What I mean by that is like I mean he's not going to be here forever and I've already mourned the death of one father and I think maybe deep down I'm scared of getting close because I'm gonna, hurt so bad again. I think I'm afraid of that, of being close because no death has ever hurt me the way my dad's did. That was the most painful thing I've ever been through in my life. And maybe deep down, unconsciously, I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid of going through that again. It was so hard for me.
Yeah. The question isn't can he be dead? The question is who can he be now? You know? Um, so I mean for me I go back and forth. Part of me wants something, even if it's small, a coffee, a check-in, some sense of connection. But the other part of me wonders if the gap is just too wide to bridge. I mean, maybe yes, he regrets it, but regret still doesn't fix my childhood. I mean, his apology doesn't tuck me in the bed at night at age 6. So what's left? What do we build
Hmm.
now? I mean, it's like someone ghosting you for six
Right.
decades and then text saying, "Hey, wanna hang out?" I mean, like, sir, what do you mean hang out? Where the hell were you in the 70s? Human heart is
Right.
complicated. I mean, maybe even as I laugh about it, but maybe a connection that's real, even if it's late. I mean, want to bond and connect with him, but do we do that now? Especially when he's so far away and I don't have the access to get to see him as often. And he's not coming here to see me. And I mean, you can even say so much on the phone, and even feels like you're talking to a stranger. I think me and him relate much better when we're face to face. Because when I came to California and stayed at his house, we had a chance. he's not getting upgraded to daddy, but maybe he gets promoted to congrats, sir. You can pass the mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. I mean, forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's about deciding
Uh-uh.
how much space you want to give someone in your present. It's not about obligation. It's about choice. And honestly, it's like we've got this new character in our family sitcom, and now we got to decide, is he a recurring guest star or is he just the weird neighbor we wave at from the driveway? I mean, like you said, this is
Right.
hard to navigate, you know? Yeah. But here's what I've realized where we go from here. So, yeah, maybe we don't know yet. Maybe it's complicated. Maybe it's messy. But here's it's our choice now. And that's the power we didn't have when we was kids. We don't have to rewrite the past. We just get to decide how the next chapter goes. He doesn't define our story, we do. Maybe he plays the role now, maybe he doesn't. But the real work is asking ourselves, who do I want to be in this story? Do I want to carry bitterness or do I want to carry boundaries? Do I want to close the door completely or leave it cracked just enough for connection? Where we go from here is less about rebuilding a relationship with him and more about rebuilding trust with ourselves. So let me ask you, if someone showed up late in your life, what role would you let them play now? Is there a difference between forgiving someone and inviting them back in? And what would it look like for you to decide your story? Do you want an ongoing relationship with him now?
Absolutely. I do. It's not easy for me, not because I think he's a bad person or anything. It's just, it's awkward. I would like to, yeah, I would like an, definitely. It's just, I pray on it. It's just going to take, time. And I just need to let my walls down, But I do want to be closer. I have my fears, of, being hurt. And not by
Well,
him,
I
just by
do want an
life.
ongoing relationship.
Yeah.
The same fears that you have. I mean, come on. I mean, our daddy's old, and we just found him. We're going to lose him again. And that is so scary because I mean, we
That,
actually
that,
looked up that he's the one that is he's absolutely wonderful. I mean, he's a very loving and caring man, and he seems to genuinely, regret not being there for us.
hmm
He loves us now just because of the fact that we're his, you know? Yeah, so I have those same fears. Yeah, because
yeah.
I mean, you lost, and eventually you're gonna lose again. I mean, and right, it's the same for me. I lost them, I found them, and eventually I'm gonna lose them
Yeah.
again after only a
And
short period of time, and that's really difficult. To even try to process. Yeah.
right. Yeah. That is one of my biggest fears about the whole thing. It's like, oh, I get close and then I go through that pain again.
I don't carry any resentment like that. I mean, I forgave our dad a long time ago. Yeah, because I had to. Yeah, for my own self. Yeah. So do you think he
hmm
regrets not being there?
No, because he
Right.
he didn't have a choice. I had daddy in the house raising me. There was no, he doesn't have to have any
I
regrets
would like
about
to
that.
think
Yeah.
being there. Only because of some of the things he said to me when I was visiting.
hmm
Yeah, so Yeah, I think so. Because we were sitting talking one day, me and him and his wife, and
Yeah.
like his mother. And yeah, and that really touched me. And he didn't have a picture, but he told me who does. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Mm.
so, what role, if
Wow.
any, do you want him to play in your life moving forward?
Um, the role I would like him to play is the role he's just been playing, seeing each other, occasionally and him just being, himself with me and just being a cool daddy. He's cool. He got some good
Yes,
stories of back in Vegas and
he's an
some really good
amazing
ones. He knew some
storyteller. I'm sorry, but
people.
he is.
So I just, yeah. And the people that he knew, that it just blows me away. But I just want him to play the role he's been playing. I'll see you when we all meet up for lunch, we meet up for dinner, we meet up for whatever we
Yeah,
meet up for.
yeah. But
Just the role he's been playing.
yeah, yeah. I like the role that he's been playing in my life so far. Yeah, I mean, nothing can make up for all that. It's a wonderful new beginning. Yeah, I like the new beginning. I really do. Like I say, he's a great guy with amazing stories. I mean, come on, he still drives, okay? And he drives damn good.
Right? Our brother
Yes,
is so much like him.
yes.
My brother
And our
thinks he
brother
is like the
is
coolest
just
dude
like
ever.
him.
Our brother,
Yeah.
you
I don't
know,
know about the, because I
he,
haven't had a chance to meet the other one
yes,
yet. Have
yes.
you? Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
No. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a whole brand new extended family with all these nieces and nephews and cousins and aunts and uncles and people that we never even knew that we were related. I mean,
Yes.
that's just great. I mean, it would have been good enough for me with just the sisters, but
Right.
like I said, sisters, brothers, and a whole big, huge extended family. Wow.
Yeah. And I just think it's crazy
Yes.
that,
Me
like, I grew
too.
up
Oh my God. My
with no
gowns were
sisters,
my
and now I have
sisters
five
for the
sisters.
Lord.
I always wanted sisters.
Then I need those best girlfriends that were fake sisters, okay?
Yes. I know.
Yeah, really wow.
Wow.
I mean, I'm trying really, really hard though to bond with someone as an adult who wasn't there when I was a child. Yeah, I'm really trying hard. And so far, it's been working. It's been working. I want to thank you so much, okay, for being brave enough to come on here with me and through all of this because this is not normal, girl, okay? I mean, I know it's thousands of women around that don't know their
No, it's
father
not.
and that maybe met them when they were teenagers or in their 20s. But I can't say it is that many women who didn't know their father and met them in their 50s and 60s like we did. Okay. And that's a whole completely different
Right.
experience. And I just want to thank you for
Mhm.
being brave to come on here and share all of this because it is not easy.
You are so welcome.
So here's what I'm walking away with after this conversation. Meeting him didn't give us a dad. It didn't tie up the story. It didn't erase the absence or the pain. What it did was shine a light on all the places where those wounds still live. And yeah, it hurt. It stirred up anger, grief, guilt, confusion. It made us question who we are and who we thought we were. But maybe that's the point. Identity isn't something handed to you. It's something you choose repeatedly. And sometimes it takes a plot twist, like meeting the man who gave you your DNA, to realize that your story was never about him. It was always about you. Because let's be honest, no awkward hug, no late apology, no family reunion is ever going to fix 60 years of absence. There's no magic moments with Coldplay playing in the background. But here's what we do have: each other. Sisters who found each other in the middle of all this chaos. That's the plot twist I didn't see coming. And honestly, the only one that matters. I never knew that I had sisters, and I feel so blessed that they are in my life. Lisa, even though you chose not to be part of this conversation, I still want to acknowledge you. You're my sister, and I love you. I truly hope you get the healing you need and deserve, because your voice matters just as much as mine and Elena's. I wish we could have done this side by side, but whether you're here or not, your story is part of this bigger picture. And let's be real, one day I hope you'll grab the mic too and speak your truth and let your voice matter. And to my other sisters, the ones who grew up with Dad in different ways at different times, your experiences matter too. Each of us carries a piece of this story, and each piece is valid. What I find sad is that so many of us, as grown women, still feel like we have to swallow our truth. Like if we speak it out loud, love will be taken away from us. But the truth is, real love doesn't evaporate when you're honest. Real love can handle the mess. Real love makes room for the whole story. So if love is that fragile, baby, keep it. I want the real thing. So maybe the question isn't, who is he to us now? Maybe the question is, who do we want to be to ourselves and to each other moving forward? And that's the power in this messy story. We can't rewrite the beginning, but we get to write the next chapter. All right, that's it for today. A huge thank you to my sister Elena for showing up here and being brave enough to share this with me and with all of you. And to you listening, if this episode hit home, if you've got your own parent wounds or complicated family story, just know this: you're not alone. The story may not look like you want it, but it's still yours, and that matters. If you love this conversation, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, leave a review, all the podcast love. Next week, we're switching gears, but we're still staying in the deep end of relationships, because honestly, that's where the real stories live. Until then, take care of your heart. Even if the story is complicated, it's still yours. Bye, guys.
If you want to become a sponsor of this podcast, send us an email, download, and/or subscribe, like or follow us on social media, on our Facebook and YouTube pages form to have your comments read on the show. To be on our email list, go to our Facebook or YouTube page and fill out the form. Form your own Girl Talk group. Everyone needs a shoulder or an ear. Merch coming soon, mugs, t-shirts, and a few surprises.